So, anyone who's ever tried to run a 4K signal, say, more than 20 feet away knows the pain.
Oh, absolutely. The HDMI cables get thick, they get expensive, and frankly, they get unreliable.
And you start getting those handshake issues
Or
or...
just a black screen, nothing. It's a physical limitation of the copper.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the specs for this WolfPack 4K 60 hertz 4.4.41 by 2 HDMI extender. And looking at the data sheets, this thing seems to be bridging that gap between, messy DIY setups and professional AV distribution.
Right. The big headline is sending a pro-grade signal up to 200 feet.
Which is, what, about 60 meters?
Yeah, around 60 meters, all over standard CT6 Ethernet cable. That's a huge leap from that 15 or 20-foot limit on a standard HDMI.
Okay, so let's unpack how it handles the signal. This isn't just an adapter, it's a full conversion system. But I'm looking at the specs 4K, 60 hertz, and this 4.4.4 chroma subsampling. Why is that specific number such a selling point?
It all comes down to bandwidth, really. A lot of extenders, they cheat to fit that heavy 4K signal down a cable.
How so?
They compress the color data. That's chroma subsampling. It's usually fine for movies, but if you're displaying a PC desktop or an Excel sheet...
Oh, right. Text would get fuzzy.
It gets fuzzy and looks washed out. So 4.4.4 basically means no compression.
So you're getting the full, crisp signal.
Precisely. This device pushes the full uncompressed signal. That's why the 18 gigabits per second bandwidth is the real story here. It's a massive pipe.
Okay, if we're pushing that much uncompressed video data down a simple Ethernet cable, what about the audio? Did that leave any room for high-end formats, or is that getting squeezed?
No, the audio stays completely intact. It supports the full suite, Dolby True HD, DTS HD Master Audio, all of it.
Wow.
Plus, the transmitter has a 3.5 millimeter jack for audio de-embedding, so you can strip the sound out at the source and run it to a separate amplifier.
That brings us to the actual connectivity, which, honestly, the name 1x2 feels like it's underselling it a bit.
It is a bit of a misnomer, yeah. You have one HDMI input at the transmitter,
Okay.
but you also get a local HDMI loop out, so you can keep a monitor right there at the source if you need to.
Right. Then you've got the two CT6 outputs going to the remote receivers. But here's where the math gets interesting. The receivers themselves have dual HDMI outputs.
Correct. Each one.
So, wait. If you max the system out, you have your local monitor plus two remote locations that are each driving two screens.
That's right.
So from one source box, you're effectively driving a 5-screen setup.
A 5-screen setup, that's basically a small sports bar configuration from a single, I think it's a $300 unit.
That's impressive.
It's a very robust distribution. And it handles auto-scaling, so if one of those screens is an older 1080p model and the others are 4K, you don't have to worry.
So it negotiates the resolution automatically.
It does. It downscales so every screen gets a picture it can actually show.
That solves the compatibility headache. But my biggest issue with these installs is always power. If I'm mounting a receiver behind a TV, I have to find a second outlet up on the wall.
You won't have to worry about that here. It features PSC.
Power over cable, so the transmitter handles all the juice.
Yep. The electricity travels right down the Ethernet line with the video data. The receivers don't need their own power bricks at all.
That simplifies the wiring map so much. A much cleaner install.
For sure.
And I noticed it also includes IR pass-through.
Right, because if your cable box is 200 feet away in a server closet, your remote control won't work.
Of course.
So the IR sensors just relay your remote signal back up the Ethernet line to the source device.
So you really can hide all the ugly equipment away and just have the screens visible.
That is the ultimate goal. And it really gets to the relevance of a tool like this. It removes the physical tether between where your content comes from and where you display it.
You're not designing a room around where the PC has to sit anymore. It really changes how you look at a roll of Ethernet cable. It's not just for the internet.
Exactly. It's becoming this universal pipe for high-fidelity video and power.
Yeah.
And it implies that, in the future, the smart home isn't necessarily about wireless everything.
What do you mean?
It's about having the right wired infrastructure hidden in the walls to carry these massive amounts of uncompressed data.
Something to consider before you close up the drywall on your next project.
Definitely.
All right, that's it for this deep dive into the WolfPack extender. Thanks for listening.